At the heart of every championship team is someone like Sophie Cunningham, a player whose value isn't always in the headlines, but is impossible to replace when gone. Her near 43% shooting from deep, disruptive defense, and unwavering presence on and off the court made her the unspoken stabilizer for the Indiana Fever. Now, after her revealing podcast remarks, it's apparent she's being pushed out over financial prioritization.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
And it's not just her exit that stings. It's what it says about the Fever's commitment to building around Caitlin Clark. Losing a glue player like Cunningham doesn't just break chemistry. It unravels trust. This isn't about one player. It's about a pattern, undervaluing cohesion, dismissing veteran impact, and making decisions that jeopardize long-term growth. Clark is the face of a franchise on the brink of national dominance. But that face can't carry a fractured system. The front office must now reckon with a deeper reality. Success isn't just about who you draft or how you spend. It's about who you keep, who you trust, and whether your vision matches the opportunity right in front of you. Caitlin Clark has had enough, and now she's reportedly ready to leave. After months of tension brewing beneath the surface, the breaking point may have finally come. The potential firing or quiet release of Sophie Cunningham. One of the few players in Indiana's locker room with the kind of veteran presence, defensive grit, and three-point consistency to actually complement Clark's game is about to be shown the door, all over a contract dispute. And now, so is Caitlin. Because when you lose your most important glue player over financial mismanagement, the message is loud and clear. There's no long-term plan. And that's the last thing you want to signal to the most impactful rookie in WNBA history. Let's break it down. Cunningham has been one of the most effective and underrated role players in the league. She shoots nearly 43% from three, locks down on defense, and plays a team-first game. But she's more than her stat line. She makes the offense work. She spreads the floor. She gives Clark space to operate and helps cover for the team's defensive gaps. She's the kind of role player every young star needs around them. She makes stars better, and right now, she's being treated like she's expendable. Her recent comments on our podcast didn't sound vague. They sounded final. She wanted a bigger contract, and based on what's come out since, it looks like the Fever have already made their decision, and not in her favor. That's the kind of move that doesn't just shake up a locker room, it detonates it. This isn't just about letting a veteran go. This is about signaling to your locker room and to your fan base that the team isn't ready to value the chemistry and cohesion that have made them competitive. And worse, that they're not willing to pay for it. Now, with Cunningham on her way out, Clark is reportedly ready to follow. Because the Fever are sending all the wrong messages at the worst possible time. This was supposed to be the beginning of a new chapter. Clark came in and transformed the team's visibility overnight. Social media exploded. Viewership surged. Merchandise sales went through the roof. Forbes recently estimated the Fever's social media value at $55 million, and that valuation wasn't built on Clark alone. It was Clark and Cunningham. Their combined presence helped drive the kind of attention this team has never had before. Losing Sophie Cunningham doesn't just hurt the team's on-court rhythm. It directly undermines the foundation of the Fever's brand value. It's a move that sacrifices cohesion, chemistry, and star development in exchange for what, exactly? Cap flexibility? A gamble on other contracts that haven't yielded nearly the same return? Critics have already been vocal about the Fever's questionable asset management. Trading the 8th overall pick for short-term rotation helped raise eyebrows. Now, with contract priorities being shuffled to potentially keep Natasha Howard while pushing Cunningham out, the narrative is shifting from we're building to we're panicking. And the worst part? These are self-inflicted wounds. This isn't a case of a player aging out or struggling to produce. Cunningham wants to stay. She's bought in. She's contributed on both ends of the floor. And yet, the front office is choosing to let her go in favor of what they believe is financial flexibility. But at what cost? Clark's growth depends on being surrounded by the right personnel. That's not optional. It's essential. Right now, the The Fever are still working through developmental issues with young players like KK Timpson. The infrastructure for grooming internal talent is already under strain. Losing a veteran who knows how to play next to a volume guard like Clark, that's not a setback. That's a regression. Let's talk about morale. What does it say to your roster when a veteran who plays her role perfectly and supports the face of your franchise can't even get re-signed? What does it say to Clark, who's already shouldering an immense load, when the one player who helps her function is let go without a fight? The answer is simple. It says this team still doesn't know how to build around success. And now, Clark's allegedly done waiting for them to figure it out. Sources have indicated that Clark is seriously reevaluating her future with the franchise. She hasn't gone public. She hasn't thrown anyone under the bus. But behind the scenes, the frustration is real. And the math is simple. Why would a generational talent waste her prime in a system that's actively dismantling the very pieces that support her? This is the same front office that couldn't keep their top draft capital and now looks willing to part with a player who directly amplifies the play of their number one asset. All for cap flexibility? For theoretical upside? Meanwhile, the marketability of the franchise, the very thing that sponsors, networks, and fans have latched onto, is about to take a massive hit. Cunningham leaving won't just impact Clark's development. It'll drag down the team's visibility, fan engagement, revenue, because fans don't rally behind chaos. They rally behind connection. And right now, the Fever are cutting the connective tissue. The long-term consequences of this go far beyond wins and losses. The championship window for a team like Indiana doesn't stay open for long. You don't get multiple years to figure out in the modern WNBA. Either you act decisively to build around your star, or you risk alienating them completely. And Caitlin Clark leaving? That would be catastrophic. You don't lose someone like her and expect recovery. She's not just a player. She's a movement. She brought in new fans. She shifted the cultural relevance of the league. She gave Indiana relevance. If she leaves, it won't just be a headline. It'll be an indictment of management, of short-sighted thinking, of an organization that asked for a miracle, got it, and then decided to nickel and dime the players who made it work. It's not too late yet, but the clock is ticking. If Cunningham goes and Clark follows, it won't be because they weren't talented enough. It'll be because the front office didn't understand what it had until it was gone. And fans won't forget. This isn't about star treatment or overpaying role players. It's about recognizing value when it's staring you in the face. Sophie Cunningham brought leadership, chemistry, and performance. Caitlin Clark brought attention, numbers, and a future. And the Fever, right now, are actively pushing both out the door. So what do you think? Has Indiana already sealed its fate? Or is there still time to fix the damage? Should Clark make her exit now, or hold out hope that management will finally wake up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you've been watching this slow implosion unfold. Share it if you're stunned by the choices being made in Indiana. And subscribe if you want more no-spin breakdowns of the stories rocking the sports world from the inside out. Because when your superstar wants out less than a season into her rookie year, that's not just a problem. That's a warning sign for every team in the league. The fact that we're even having this conversation about Caitlin Clark potentially leaving the Indiana Fever less than a full season into her rookie campaign should send shockwaves through the entire WNBA. This isn't a storyline. It's a 5-alarm fire. When a franchise player goes from being the centerpiece of a rebuild to considering her exit because of front office dysfunction and the reckless firing of a key teammate, there are no more excuses. No more it takes time narratives. No more development curve spin. The truth is staring everyone in the face. Indiana had the blueprint, and they're tearing it up. Let's be real. Sophie Cunningham's situation isn't complicated. You got a veteran contributor, a high-efficiency shooter, and a two-way player with an unselfish, team-first mentality. She's not demanding a max deal. She's not disrupting the locker room. She's asking for a reasonable contract based on her proven value. And how does management respond? With silence. Or worse, by pivoting toward other players who haven't shown the same impact. So when Cunningham goes on her podcast and openly hints that her time in Indiana is likely over, that's not just a personal decision. It's an indictment of the front office. And Clark sees it. She's watching all of it unfold in real time. And reportedly, she's had enough. Because here's what people keep forgetting. Caitlin Clark didn't come into the league to waste time. She came in ready to win, ready to work, and most importantly, ready to grow. But growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when you have teammates who understand your game. When you have veterans who know how to fill the gaps while the young star figures it out. Cunningham was that player. She made Clark better. She spaced the floor. She defended top matchups. She moved without the ball. She got in the dirt for 50-50 plays. She brought the kind of intangible energy that can't be faked and can't be replaced by analytics alone. And still, she's on the chopping block. All of this is happening in the shadow of the Fever's recent and frankly baffling personnel decisions. They already caught heat for trading away the number 8 overall pick, a move that now looks even worse with the roster in disarray. Critics warned the team was playing for short-term optics instead of long-term sustainability. Now, we're watching that warning turn into reality. They've burned draft capital. They're about to lose their most reliable veteran. And now, they're one bad move away from losing Caitlin Clark altogether. And let's not underestimate what that would mean. Clark isn't just Indiana's most important player. She's the most visible figure in the WNBA right now. Every game she plays brings eyeballs. Every post, she's tagged and drives social media engagement. Every moment she's on the court boosts ratings, attendance, merchandise sales, everything. Forbes didn't pull that $55 million brand valuation out of thin air. It's directly tied to Clark and the energy she's brought to the Fever. And Cunningham was part of that equation. There's a reason the duo resonated so quickly. They had chemistry. They understood each other's games. On and off the court, there was synergy. That matters. When fans buy into a team, they're buying into relationships, into trust, into identity. Strip that away, and you're left with nothing but a stat sheet and a fan base that stops believing. Caitlin Clark knows that. She sees it happening. And now, she's facing a decision no rookie should have to make. Stick it out and hope the front office figures it out, or cut ties early and save her career from becoming collateral damage. Because if the Fever don't reverse course soon, it won't just be Cunningham and Clark walking. It'll be the fans, the momentum, the sponsorships, the opportunity. And once that's gone, you don't get it back. The fact that the Fever front office is even considering choosing cap space or unproven potential over a player like Cunningham tells you everything you need to know. They're not operating with a vision. They're playing whack-a-mole with contracts, hoping something clicks before it all caves in. But real team building doesn't work like that. It's strategic. It's relational. It's about understanding how to protect your stars and surround them with people who elevate their game, not dismantle their foundation. And it's not like Cunningham's contributions are theoretical. Her shooting numbers are among the best in the league. Her defensive impact is measurable. Her presence in the locker room is stabilizing. This is a player who brings elite-level value without needing the ball in her hands for 40 minutes. Letting her walk is malpractice. And it's not happening in a vacuum. The Fever are already facing heat for how they've handled younger talent like KK Timpson, whose development has reportedly stalled. Combine that with the front office's fixation on players who don't fit the system, and you've got a team that looks increasingly lost. They had the roadmap. They had the pieces. They had the moment. And now, they're blowing it over budgetary hesitation and backward priorities. Cunningham's departure would be bad, but Clark's departure? That would be catastrophic. It would be a league-altering collapse. A statement to every other team and player in the WNBA that Indiana is not a place where stars can thrive. And it's entirely avoidable. There's still a window. Not a big one. Not one that stays open long. But it's there. The Fever can reverse this if they act now. Re-sign Cunningham. Publicly commit to building around Clark and the veterans who support her. Admit mistakes. Fix them. Show their star they're capable of doing the one thing every great franchise does. Learn. But if they let this moment pass, if they let Cunningham go, if they let Clark get pushed to the edge, if they keep pretending the locker room will magically hold together, they'll get what's coming. And it won't be a championship window. It'll be another rebuild, another forgotten season, another wasted opportunity. So now we wait. The next few weeks will tell us everything. Will Indiana course correct? Will they prove they understand what they have in Caitlin Clark? Or will they continue treating cornerstone players like spare parts? You already know where this is going if they don't act. At this point, it's not just about Caitlin Clark possibly leaving. It's about the why. And it's about the message it sends to the entire sports world. The Fever were given a once-in-a-generation opportunity. They didn't just draft a talented rookie. They landed the name that brought in an entire new wave of fans. Clark didn't enter the league quietly. She didn't tiptoe in and hope for a shot. She brought with her an avalanche of attention, expectations, pressure, and opportunity. And now that opportunity is slipping through the franchise's fingers because they couldn't keep the right pieces around her. Sophie Cunningham didn't ask for the spotlight. She earned her place through consistent shooting, tough defense, and the kind of off-ball intelligence that makes superstars look even better. She's a connector, the kind of player who knows when to cut, when to screen, when to help. She doesn't demand the ball. She doesn't need the praise. But her impact? Unmistakable. And now she's likely gone, because the Fever reportedly don't want to meet her contract value. Let that sink in. A team sitting on one of the most marketable rosters in recent memory, with a $55 million media valuation driven by social engagement, is hesitating to retain the exact kind of player who makes their system functional. And for Caitlin Clark, this isn't just a teammate loss. It's a strategic failure. It's watching your support system walk out the door and realizing that the people running your team still don't get it. That they think you can just slot in someone younger, cheaper, or flashier and still get the same result. You can't. And Clark knows it. That's why she's reportedly considering leaving. Because what's the point of building your legacy in a system that doesn't know how to build around you? This isn't college anymore. There's no loyalty contract. No 4-year obligation. Caitlin Clark doesn't have to wait out a dysfunctional franchise. And if Indiana doesn't make a sharp turn immediately, she won't. The signs are already there. Her body language has shifted. Her post-game demeanor has gotten colder. The public statements may still be measured, but off-camera, the frustration is mounting. The vibe inside the organization is tense. And the trust between players and the front office is wearing thin. Let's talk about what Clark is really seeing here. She's seeing an organization that traded away a top 10 pick for minimal short-term return. She's seeing veteran contributors devalued in favor of bigger names or cheaper contracts. She's seeing younger players like KK Timpson underdeveloped due to a lack of infrastructure and clear vision. She's watching mistakes compound, and she knows that if she doesn't make a move now, she might end up tied to a franchise that's actively wasting her prime. She doesn't have time for that. Her value is sky high now. Her brand is peaking. Her influence is unrivaled. She's sitting on a rare window of leverage, and if the Fever can't build around her, someone else will. There are at least 5 other teams in the league that would retool their entire roster just to create the right environment for her. And if Indiana's message is, we know what's best, even if it costs us the players who make the engine run, then why should she stick around? And the fans? They see it too. The same people who filled arenas just to see her play are now side-eyeing the front office with skepticism. The excitement is still there, but it's cautious. Because they've seen this story before. A new star shows up, promises to turn things around, and gets buried under poor management and bad decisions. The league has watched it happen more times than it should. The only difference this time is that Clark has options. And if Cunningham's exit turns out to be the final straw, it won't be a small story. It'll be a headline heard across the sports world. Rookie sensation Caitlin Clark requests trade after Fever mismanaged roster. That's the kind of thing that haunts a franchise for years. It ruins their reputation in free agency. It stunts their ticket sales. It erodes whatever goodwill they had built over the last 12 months. All because they wouldn't pay a veteran role player who already proved her value. Let's not forget, this isn't about max contracts or superstars. This is about the connective tissue that makes teams work. Sophie Cunningham is the kind of player who holds things together when everything else is in flux. She's the kind of player who lets your number 1 option breathe, who lets them be the number 1 option without having to do everything. Take her away, and Clark's job gets twice as hard overnight. And now that job is already harder than it needs to be. She's still adjusting to the speed of the pro game. She's still shouldering a massive media spotlight. She's doing all of this while trying to win games for a team that doesn't seem to know what direction it's going in. You can't ask her to do everything and then rip away one of the few teammates that actually complements her style. That's not a challenge. That's sabotage. So where does this all go from here? That depends on what the Fever do right now. The clock isn't just ticking on free agency or preseason prep. It's ticking on Caitlin Clark's trust. If Indiana still wants to be the team that reaps the benefits of her success, they have to start acting like it. That means re-signing Cunningham. That means admitting past mistakes. That means investing in chemistry, not just cap space. Because if they don't, then it's not a matter of if Clark leaves. It's when. She's not going to waste her prime years begging the front office to build a roster that makes sense. She's not going to carry a franchise that won't even carry its own role players. She's going to walk. And when she does, it'll be one of the biggest what could have been collapses in modern sports. The damage is already being done. Cunningham's podcast was the warning shot. Clark's looming departure would be the kill shot. And all of it, every bit of it, could have been avoided with better planning, smarter priorities, and a basic understanding of team dynamics. So what do you think? Are we watching the beginning of the end in Indiana, or is there still hope? Did the Fever fumble their one shot at building a dynasty around Caitlin Clark? Should she cut her losses now, or give the team one more chance? Drop it in the comments. Like this if you're tracking the fallout. Share it with someone who's been watching this disaster unfold in real time. And subscribe if you want more truth-telling deep dives into the drama they wish you'd ignore. Because if this is how Indiana handles their miracle moment, they don't deserve a second one.